Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is Monday, June 17th, 2024. Today we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine going to the land of the rising sun. Wait, no, that's Japan, I think. My bad, China, where they is basically securing it a massive haul. Street Fighter loses its director. There's a whole lot going on today. Ian McKellen news even. Let's dive into it. Let's go. Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of Hollywood After Dark. It's Monday. I have a lot to do after I record this. I got to sit down. I got to work on the patio commentaries, right? I got to get those out. I got to get the Bad Boys ones done. I was actually looking at whether or not, because I didn't really get much of a Father's Day. I had to work. Bastards. But I was looking at can I sneak out and go see Bad Boys 4 and Furiosa? Is it possible to do a double feature? It is actually possible to do a double feature, and I'm going to see if I'm able to pull that off tonight. If not, maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I'm not too sure. I have a lot to do, a lot of recording to do, because I'm obviously trying to hype everything up, bring it all back, and give you guys a lot of great in-depth movie coverage as well as news, because I really am diving in full board to this. And so far, the support has been pretty fantastic. I really appreciate you guys. So listen, one of the things I want to also focus on is I want to keep the conversation going. I realize that a lot of you all watch from various different places, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube. Some people listen in the audio format, which is great. But I did want to let you guys know, we have a Discord. I've had a Discord now for quite some time. And here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to pause the stream or pull out your phones and then just take a snapshot of the QR code. It will take you right to our Discord. No, this is not like some joke to get you to go and look at porn or anything like that. It literally goes to the Discord. And I would like to build it up. I'd like to get some new voices in there, get some new people in, and really work on the conversation. That's a great place to talk to me. It's a great place to recommend news stories, because I do ask questions here on the YouTube community tab about that. But it really is a great way to keep the conversation going, as well as to build the community. And there are a lot of like-minded people in there, and it's a really chill place. And you can get a wide variety of coverage from different stories. If you like theme park coverage, we have a guy in there super into theme park coverage that pops up quite often. Even though I don't talk about it, it's in there. It's a great way to join the HWAD community. You know what? And you can also do that by becoming a Hollywood After Dark premium member. You can do this by becoming a channel member here on the channel, or go to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo. It is probably better to do Patreon, but either way is a good way to support it. Here, you could do the lowest tier, and then you could get your questions answered with the community tab posts and everything else, as well as getting access to Tubi Tuesdays, which will be a member-only feature where we're going to watch movies on from Tubi. And there is quite a bit, actually. Just the other night, I got home from work, and I was exhausted. I needed to unwind, and so I'm just looking through Tubi. And you know what I watched? And I'm going to do a patio on this. I watched the Poughkeepsie tapes as a way to unwind. What in the ever-loving ass is wrong with me? I watched a documentary that is so effed up that it ended up getting banned when it came out originally in 2007, 2008. It's tame by today's standards, but it's still a really messed up movie. And I'm just sitting in bed yeah, this is what I watched to unwind after a 12-hour day at my job, I guess. I don't know. It's so weird, but I do want to talk about that. But guys, there is so much to talk about today. I'm gonna be blazing through the vast majority of it in order to really keep us on track. Okay, so let's start off with a piece of sad news. But I think everything's going to be okay. This actually just happened. Sir Ian McKellen has been taken to a hospital after falling off stage in a theater performance. Witnesses say he is conscious and he asked for assistance. So that's a good thing. He is, as I say here, he is immortal. He will be fine. Ian McKellen is immortal. He is 84, though. That's the other problem with that. He is 84 years old, and that is definitely something that we have to remember is going to play a factor here. You know, I wish him the best. I want nothing but great things for this. And for him, for quick recovery. You know what, guys? Like, prayer emojis in the chat for Ian McKellen. If you're listening to this on Twitter, do the same thing. If you're listening to this in the replay crew, let me know in the chat about this, in the comment section about this. I just want to send good vibes, right? We're vibing. We're doing a vibe check. Got to have a good vibe check, though, for Ian McKellen, because that man is an absolute legend. And I really would love to see him pop up in the MCU and everything else. I think if Patrick Stewart did it, Ian McKellen could do it. Let's go, folks. Let's go. But moving on, something else happening today as well. YouTube is launching its own version of community notes for videos. And this, my friends, is excellent, excellent news, especially if you happen to be a hater of the chuds, because the chuds know that I think their time is kind of coming to an end here on the platform. Like, a lot of them are trying to shift into politics or shift into other things simply as a way of realizing that they know that eventually it's all going to come down on their heads. So viewers will be able to add notes, supposedly, just like community notes on Twitter. And here's the thing, of all the dumb, stupid things Elon Musk has done to Twitter, and believe me, my friends, he has done a lot of dumb, stupid, effing things to that platform. The community notes edition is, quite frankly, one of the best things that he has done. It is a great way to call out grifters, to call out nonsense. And even though Elon Musk himself has brain rot, has brain worms, is completely in tune with the far right nut job ideologues out there, that is still a good feature. And they've called him out too. And YouTube needs to do this. And it's not just going to be for like the movie chuds, although they will be heavily targeted. Make no mistakes. There will be a ton of community notes on like Yellow Flash, Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, Ryan Kittle. All those guys are going to get slammed with community notes because now their detractors are going to actually have a way of really kind of fighting back against it. And I think it should be all right. I'm all here for it, to be honest with you. More transparency, more knowledge, more informed people means that you will be then arguing with less ignorant douchebags. And I think that's a good thing. We want people to be informed. We want them to be enlightened with factual information to then make an opinion, right? To then make an opinion. But this is going to be something that's pretty good. Speaking of things that are also really good, and I kind of want to give a shout out here. Henry Cavill announced on Father's Day that he will be a dad. Now, if you've followed anything involving Henry Cavill news recently, you know that his girlfriend is pregnant, right? There's been some photos of her showing the belly bump and everything else. And it's really cool. Really happy for Henry Cavill. He seems like such a nice guy, and he'll be a great dad. And you know, he built everything there. Like, you know, he built that, right? Like, that's a proud dad look on his face right there. He's like, I built. He probably even stained the wood. He probably even did all of that handiwork himself, because that's the kind of guy that he is. Just wait for the videos to come out of Henry Cavill teaching his children how to build PCs, how to join the PC master race, how to paint Warhammer minifigs. I mean, like, just wait for like the wholesome family content to come out of Henry Cavill. But this is what he had to say. Oh yeah, happy Father's Day, you dads out there. Turns out I shall be joining your hallowed rank soon. Any tips? Don't worry, pillows won't be in the crib when the wee one arrives. Just glue and scaples. Just glue and scaples. I can't even say it. Scaples. So he or she can build Warhammer miniatures. # Father's Day. Exactly. Good for Henry Cavill. Honest to God. Very good for Henry Cavill. Very hopeful that he gets all the love and everything in the world. I'm very excited to see what he's going to be able to do with being a dad, because it calms you down in many ways, right? You realize that it's not just about you anymore. You know, you realize that you got to do a lot more with your kids, and it becomes like the next phase of life, and that's always a good thing. Speaking of the next phases of things, especially in Hollywood, reboots, remakes, right? We know all that's a thing. Wesley Snipes, he decided to comment yesterday, or comment actually on Saturday. I missed it after I recorded here, saying, Blade, lordy, 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 folks still looking for the secret sauce, riding snowmobiles in traffic, kinda rough. Daywalkers make it look easy, don't they? And he's obviously referring to the fact that just recently the latest director of Blade left the project. Mahershala Ali's agent is like, the fuck are they doing? What is happening? What the fuck is going on? Like, this is getting embarrassing, because it is. They announced the movie 5 years ago, and they're having trouble with a vampire script. Okay, like everyone just says, make Blade kill vampires. That's all you got to do. Make Blade kill vampires, and do it in a cool way while playing some Prodigy or some Spybreak or whatever. Okay, give us that stuff and we're happy. So what is the problem here? What is the issue here? And I think, if I'm being honest with you, I think part of the problem is Marvel is trying too hard to find indie talent to make some of these movies. You should stop, Marvel. You should absolutely stop. It is time to right the ship, which means finds established directors who will come in, be company men, competently bring a film on time, under budget, with minimal notes, and then reset everything that you're trying to do. Then after that, bring in the smaller people. Okay. The Russo bros weren't brought in to do Captain America. That was Joe Johnston, right? Joe Johnston has been around for a long time. Made a lot of movies, directed Jurassic Park 3, was worked with Spielberg and Amblin on a lot of things. He was an established storyteller who was able to come in and do a movie that was functional. It worked. It's great. And then with the sequel, they experimented with the Russos, and the Russos knocked it out of the park. You got to establish the characters first, establish that world first, establish that in a way that is going to, I think, I don't want to say check the boxes, because we definitely want things to do a bit more than that, but you guys know what I'm trying to say here. And I think I'm not wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on this one. I think that they need to just bring in someone who will get the goddamned movie done. I just think that, how hard is that? You know what I mean? Like, how freaking hard is that? I don't even know. Okay, but apparently it's hard. Apparently Hollywood is getting harder and harder, especially if you're in a flop and you start talking all sorts of trash about it. This is why it's interesting that Russell Crowe has responded to Dakota Johnson, of all people, for her comments about Madam Webb, saying, here, you're telling me you signed up for a Marvel movie and some fucking universe for cartoon characters, and you didn't get enough pathos? If you're expecting this to be some kind of life-changing event, I just think you're here for the wrong reasons. And the truth is, he's 100% correct on that one, right? These are movies that have pre-established characters with decades of history, with, you could argue, rabid fan bases, right? You could make that argument. That's something that's there. You can do all of that and still bring your own thing to the table, but realize you are part of mass market entertainment. Your job is to facilitate a role in a larger universe than you. And then and even though the movie was like not good, actually, you know what? I found this out last night. So my daughter's been having nightmares recently. Okay. And like, this is why I'm recording so late in the day, but like, she kept me up all night long, and she kept telling me she had bad dreams about spiders. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, it's the three girls and the bad Spider-Man. And I didn't realize her and her mom watched Madam Webb on Netflix, and it deeply impacted her. I didn't know this. She told me this last night. So that movie scared the shit out of my 6-year-old. So I kind of want to watch it now to see how bad it is. But again, like, these movies are meant to serve a purpose. They're meant to serve an overarching character story. They're meant to serve a greater universal set piece, so to speak, right? Where they, and so Dakota Johnson running her mouth over that absolutely didn't work out well. Even Sydney Sweeney took like one crack on Saturday Night Live, but it worked out okay because she had another movie that came out at the end of last year that was a hit. And so, she had the ability to do that. Dakota Johnson is not Sydney Sweeney levels of fame. Dakota Johnson's a Nepo baby who is perfectly fine being a Nepo baby, is a fine actress. I like Dakota Johnson. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, again, to come out and talk all that trash about it just means you don't want to do big budget movies, right? Which is perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. All right. But you just at that point want to do your indie stuff and live in the bubble of what your parents had already created and the money that you were afforded anyway. So she's in a space where she can just do whatever she wants, and that's fine. But just admit you took the fucking job for the money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just like there's no point of shitting on a movie that you star in before the movie comes out. It's going to send bad vibes. It's just going to send bad vibes. And if that was the case, every actor would be doing that. Every actor would be getting in trouble. We don't want that, right? Because in some cases, you want people to promote something, even though I personally feel that a lot of promotion for movies is bullshit. And I think it's ridiculously stupid. And I think it's all done to service the ego. You can't deny that sometimes movies will have a great return. And if you look at what's going on right now with Inside Out 2, it's shattered box office expectations with $155 million, the biggest debut since Barbie, which is kind of crazy that Inside Out 2 was able to pull that off, considering the fact that so many other Pixar projects were not able to come close. Lightyear didn't even come close. Okay. What was Elemental? I think Elemental squeaked to a victory. It limped itself there over the span of a couple months, but Elemental's a cute movie, but Inside Out is a beloved film. Inside Out 2 apparently continues that. I'm looking forward to seeing it at some point in time. Probably not. No, my kids are out of school this week. So maybe if I can, I got a couple days off work. Maybe I'll take them to go see it. But I do want to rewatch the original. So anyway, here's what we know about this. The movie grossed $155 million this opening weekend. This success surpasses projections and marks the highest opening of the year. The sequel to the hit 2015 movie also set records internationally, becoming the biggest overseas animated opening of all time with $140 million. That means that's like $290 million or something it did in its opening weekend. The film's success is a significant win for theaters and Pixar, which has definitely been struggling. So we'll have to wait to see whether or not they take the right lessons from this, which is give us a sequel to a beloved film that surpasses it, and wait for the money to roll on in. I know they're working on a bunch of new original movies as well, but after a success like this and a lot of the other originals kind of not doing as great, I think they're going to put more emphasis on these kind of sequels. They might do sequels for summer, original movies for fall, because Disney Animation has also had a struggling time with its fall releases. Moana 2 this year could be big. It should be big. It should be big. And I wonder if there's going to be a trailer, just because I'm on the side here. I wonder if there's going to be a trailer in front of Moana 2 for the live action Moana, because they just cast the girl who's going to play Moana. And of course, Dwayne Johnson is playing Maui, aka himself, in a movie. I don't know. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I don't want to be negative about it, but I'm going to say like it's entirely possible that it's not going to do very well at all. I just don't even know. Anything could happen, folks. Anything could happen in regards to that. We're going to have to wait and see. Of course, I'm always going to be cautiously optimistic about things along those lines, because I just want to I want movies to do well. And so let's talk about a weird one, okay? So this article popped up the other day. Furiosa puts tax rebates under scrutiny. Now, what this is talking about, obviously, is, Warner Brothers, George Miller's Furiosa, a movie with like a massive box office budget that failed to connect. In fact, I think it actually hits PVOD either midweek or at the end of this week. Maybe it's next week. No, I think it's next Tuesday. It hits PVOD. And the thing is that this movie got $100 million back from the Australian taxpayers as a way of, getting the job there. So this is what we know. Furiosa prequel to Mad Max Fury Road has received over $100 million in tax credits from the Australian government. This substantial financial support underscores the country's commitment to attracting major film productions. However, the move has sparked debate about the impact of such incentives on local industries and whether they disproportionately benefit large international productions. The film's high budget and significant tax rebate highlight the competitive nature of global film production and the economic benefits that such projects can bring to host countries. And now, when we talk about tax incentives, we don't talk about them enough, okay? I mean, they'll pop up in certain conversations. Every movie is going to have a tax incentive. Every movie is going to film in places that give them the best tax incentives. And every movie is never going to really talk much about that, because even though there are box office reports about like how much a movie has made in its, profit for the company, right? If you ever look at like Dan Murrell, I'm just going to bring up Dan Murrell. I'm going to call out Dan Murrell too, because I'm the most honest person talking about movies right now. Dan Murrell will try to tell you how much profit or loss a movie has based upon incomplete information. And he'll admit it's incomplete information, but that's one of the things people know him for. And so it's like tax incentives really do showcase how much money productions can save. And then those monies can then be reinvested under another production into that particular environment, that particular economy, to help kind of keep things afloat. However, it does alter from project to project. And so it's never going to be the same. Everything is varying prices, so on and so forth. So sometimes the rebate will really help the production, and other times it will only marginally help the production, depending on how much it costs. But when you get movies like Mad Max Fury Road that are very visually, visual effect and intensive, a lot of those visual effects are going to probably go to effects houses in other countries like Canada, France, New Zealand, the UK, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, wherever. There's a whole bunch of places that they go to. And why do they do that? They do that because they are able to then get tax incentives for hiring companies in that country. So Hollywood is they'll put out all these massive budgets, but they get a lot of that money back in the meantime. And the biggest problem is that, again, people like Dan Murrell and people like the trades, they never fully report on that information because they never have that information. So instead of just trying to but because they're looking for content, they're looking for things to discuss, they have to do that in order to then push the narrative. And one of the things I hope about that YouTube community notes is that box office grifters like that will absolutely get slapped down by community notes. They're going to point out how little information they actually know. But I'll tell you what we actually know is going to happen, and that is that Megalopolis, okay, if you could say that 5 times fast, is finally coming to theaters in IMAX, large premium format screens, September 27th, and you'll be able to watch it. However, will you want to watch it? That becomes a question. The movie has taken a bit of a hit with its debut at Cannes and everything else. It had a very divisive premiere. There's no denying that. Some people called it, batshit and crazy masterpiece. I'm kind of paraphrasing some of the things I read. Others called it just batshit crazy, nonsensical, didn't know what it wanted to be. A mid-80-year-old filmmaker spending his own money to make this thing a reality. I mean, $120 million of his own money. But here's what we're not thinking about with this one, right? Is that even though he's going to IMAX, even though Lionsgate's putting it out, he's going to have to split and share the screens, because IMAX that weekend is also going to be the 10th anniversary of Interstellar. And since Oppenheimer won Best Picture last year, Nolan won Best Director last year, obviously bringing back Nolan's one of his better movies. Again, I say this about Interstellar, and you can agree or disagree, but Interstellar sucks. It comes to a grinding halt after Matt Damon dies. After Matt Damon dies, just turn the movie off or skip to the last 10 minutes of the film. Either way, he's his own daughter's ghost. I mean, come on. This is why Nolan is a good director, but he needs Jonathan Nolan there to work on the script. I don't know how much Jonathan worked on Interstellar, But my God, that Stanley Kubrick bullshit, batshit, dumb shit ending was just so dumb. I honest to God have not watched a Nolan movie since then. I didn't see Dunkirk. I haven't seen Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Tenet. That pissed me off so much that I have not wanted to watch anything else Nolan has done. Despite how good it might be, I don't care. That ending of Interstellar, you have one of the best, most beautifully made movies of all time. And then it just goes into some weird late 1960s, head up your own pee hole fucking ego bullshit. I could go off for hours about Interstellar. I should watch it and then rant about it for patio commentary. How about that, right? You guys want that? Probably not, because I'm getting a lot of people really mad. All right, so anyway, speaking of things that will get people mad, Dave Filoni, in a recent interview, talked about the idea of an R-rated Star Wars movie, and he said that it's interesting. Saying here, I think that there's an audience for that. I also think that with that audience, I want to still be hitting the imagination of the kids out there. Now, one of the things I find to be really funny about Star Wars and that subject line about it being for kids. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's a kids movie. Is it though? Is it though? Because like they're decapitating people, they're dismembering people. In the first Star Wars movie, literally that dude loses his arm in the Mos Eisley Cantina, right? They fucking genocide an entire planet of people. All right, they force choke a bitch. You know, there's like they torture Princess Leia. It's about war. A lot of people die. And yet it's kind of like, oh, it's a kid's movie, right? Empire Strikes Back. They freeze Han Solo in carbonite. The bad guys win. It's a kid's movie. You know, Return of the Jedi's got Ewoks. That's a kid's movie. No, I disagree. They're guerrilla fighters. The Ewoks are the VC, baby. The Ewoks are the Viet Cong. You got to remember, the rebellion was an allegory for the Viet Cong, and the Empire was an allegory for the American imperial military complex. You know, he was not subtle about any of this stuff, right? But should Star Wars be rated R? The answer to that is probably not. I don't know if I'd really like freak out if there was a Star Wars R-rated movie. I think Andor got a little bit close in some of its themes. You can go darker, you can go more adult. But I think there's a difference between R-rated and adult. Like, I don't want to see there being like hardcore sex in Star Wars. I don't want to see hardcore murder in Star Wars. Never mind the fact that go back to A New Hope, Luke goes back home and there's the skeletal remains of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru still smoldering, black smoke emanating off of their completely fried bodies. Kids movie, right? Kids movie, folks. Okay, I think it's a lie. I think it's a lie to say that it's a kids movie. I think it's okay to say that the people, you know, who grew up watching Star Wars are adults now and want adult themed Star Wars content. And those are the people who are still the biggest Star Wars fans. It's not to say that Star Wars doesn't have young fans. They do. But that generation, the Gen Xers, the Zennials, the Millennials, whatever, those people, those three generations, those are your Star Wars fans. They're getting older. They want more adult content, and that's what you should focus on. And I think that's the biggest key here with Star Wars is that. But again, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Be sure to let me know. So let's talk about something else that's got a little bit of a bad play to it here. Street Fighter, the movie, has lost the Danny and Michael Filippo. I'm not too sure how you pronounce those names. They're Australian. Doesn't really matter. They say it with a Filippo, whatever. Right, mate. I don't know. I'm going to get so much crap for that. But they have backed out of the Street Fighter movie that they were going to be working on. And the reason why is just, it's scheduling, right? They had to prioritize another project with A24. And so right now there is a search for a new director, as Legendary and Capcom remain committed to bringing the popular video game franchise back to the big screen. And what's funny is just earlier today, my youngest daughter was watching Detective Pikachu, which is a Legendary and Nintendo co-production. And I think Legendary is going to do right by this. I said on social media that I think having the directors of Bad Boys would probably be a better bet. You would have your over-the-top fun action, and then you'd have a good story to go along with it, or at least a decent enough story to go along with it. I haven't seen Talk to Me, but I did watch some of the Raka Raka videos, and I find them to be funny. I find them to be very irreverent. But at the same time, I'm that kind of humor would not translate well to a Street Fighter movie. Okay. And look, I still unequivocally, undeniably love the original film. Okay. The 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is fucking amazing. I love that goddamn movie. I do. I love that goddamn movie. But you need to get someone who's going to be able to go in there and be able to get it done and get it on time. And I know that Talk to Me did okay for A24, but that's A24 moving over into this kind of thing. They would need really good producers to hold their hands to make sure it got done on time. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So if they're working on another project with A24 that's going to be smaller in scale and going to have a lower budget, by all means, do it. I just hope Riley Reid makes an appearance. I think that would be pretty funny. I think that would be okay. So also here we get to find out that Sean Levy, when asked now what kind of movie he wants to make within the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Deadpool 3, he says that he would love to do a Spider-Man and Deadpool movie. Spider-Man and Deadpool movie. I think that is something that, again, after Deadpool and Wolverine, makes a lot of sense. That could actually open up the door to a new trilogy within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? It's Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool and Spider-Man, and then who would be Deadpool team up with for the next one? Is there anyone else that he would, any other character he's got a good history with? You know what I mean? Like, how would they make that work? And I think that might be the idea. Sean Levy is obviously, I think, in talks right now. He's the front runner for the next Avengers movie. I think, leading an ensemble cast like that is going to be something that you need a good director to do. Obviously, the Russo bros, I believe, are still in the mix. But a Deadpool and Wolverine movie in and of itself, I think, would be a lot of fun. Deadpool and Spider-Man movie would be a lot of fun. Tom Holland and Ryan Reynolds would just be smack talking each other, I think. And I think that would be a fair amount of fun. Now, would Sony get on board with that? Would their contract with Marvel, for allowing Tom Holland's character to go into a Marvel movie that's not one of the mainstay Spider-Mans? What exactly would that look like? If he's going to be in Secret Wars, and everything else, right? Because there's a lot of talk about them doing that, about him leading that charge. I don't know yet, but I think if Deadpool can pull in the amount of money I think it's going to pull in, and like I've said, I think it's going to pull in a lot of money. I think it's going to pull in a great deal of cash. It will definitely be something that they're going to be discussing. Also, here we found out that Deadpool and Wolverine have flat out secured a China release date, with some censorship cuts, to be fair. But it is coming to China. And remember, Deadpool 1 didn't go to China. I don't believe Deadpool 2 went to China. Yeah, this is the first time that a Deadpool movie has been approved for a day and date release in China. Some content adjustments have happened, but Disney has assured that the film's integrity will be maintained. The release is seen as a test of Marvel's brand strength in China, which has seen fluctuating success in recent years. The involvement of stars Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who will visit China for promotion, is expected to boost the film's performance. Because here's the thing, guys, is they need that massive worldwide box office haul. They need that, okay? And that's the whole point. By getting it in China with some censorship cuts, that's kind of the whole issue, is that they need to get that. And if they're able to get that, then they are, in fact, very able to then go for that at least $1.5 billion. I'm telling you right now, Deadpool and Wolverine, if it does what I think it's going to do, $1.5 billion at the minimum worldwide. Now with China on board, $1.5 billion at the minimum. And it could potentially hit the $2 billion mark if China really dives on. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Again, look at these guys. Look at them. This is going to sell tickets. I've already got my tickets. I'm sure you've got your tickets. Absolutely. So let's get into the Q&A. We got a couple of questions here to kind of breeze through. I did kind of post it a little bit late, so thank you to Anthony and Zap for jumping in and asking some questions here. Anthony here asks, thoughts on Todd Howard saying they're not rushing to release a new Fallout game, saying that the Fallout TV show fills a certain niche in terms of the franchise and storytelling. I kind of think that's a little bit on the BS side. Right now would be the time to do a Fallout game. I mean, granted, Fallout New Vegas has been getting played a lot. Steam numbers are up. Fallout 4 Steam numbers are up. I'm sure downloads on Xbox and PC Games Pass are up. Sales are probably going up. I think they actually sold out of physical media for the Fallout games, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 maybe, after the release of the show a couple months ago. So right now would be the time to announce a Fallout 5, even if it's not coming for a while, because season 2 of the show is in development, and I think that would be the key. So thoughts on Peter Jackson is definitely working on the Adventures of Tintin 2, says Andy Serkis. Don't get my hopes up. Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope about that, okay? Freaking Andy Serkis was amazing as Haddock. Jamie Bell was great as Tintin. The Adventures of Tintin from 2011 is a goddamn underrated fucking classic. And the technology now can make it so much easier to do and probably much more cost effective, especially when you start including artificial intelligence into the workflow, which I guarantee you they're probably already doing. We'll have to wait and see here. Anthony here also talking about Charlie Cox teasing the one-shot fight sequences in Daredevil Born Again. Yes, that's a key. That's not the reason why I watched the show, obviously, but that is definitely a key for me. Also, Anthony here, thoughts on Sony president of international distribution, Stephen Odell, teasing Quentin Tarantino's final film, saying there's more to come that he couldn't talk about. Yeah, whenever it happens, man. It's Tarantino. I don't even think it's going to be his final film, to be honest with you. All right, I'm just going to mark these as hearted, so I already answered him. And then Zap here brings up the Street Fighter loses directors, which I already talked about, though. But thank you guys very much for that. I do appreciate it. Again, when we think about the idea here of everything coming in the pipeline, it's summertime. There's always things that are happening. You know, Hollywood needs to start kind of embracing more originality, but at the same time, I understand the IP pump. I do. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of it, but I get it. Like, I'm excited for Daredevil. I'm excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm excited for a lot of these movies. I just got to get my ass to the theater to watch a lot of them. But again, at the same time, a lot of other people aren't going to the theaters, and you know, the studios know this, and that's always a topic for another day. So with that, guys, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you all very much. Don't forget to like the stream, to like the video, to join the Hollywood After Dark premium channel membership, get in on that Tubi Tuesdays action, as well as joining the Discord. You guys can just pause that right there, get a screenshot of all that, and definitely, remember, folks, that this is a fan-supported show. Hollywood After Dark is done because of you guys. That's why I keep doing it. You guys are all great. I really appreciate you. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to, again, leave your comments, suggest stories that I might have missed, coverage for tomorrow, because I got to have things to talk about, guys, and you're the ones that are going to help me. And as always, I love you very much. Thank you guys very much. Have yourself a great day, folks, and peace out.